All right, welcome to episode 3 of the Route 66 Fix. As we're rocking and rolling on today's episode, we have our first guest with a special guest, Chandler Haley. We do a little Super Bowl preview, dive into a little high school Oklahoma basketball news, and dive into a little NBA talk as well. And then today we're also going to preview the Waste Management Tour, some other NBA news, and also just kind of our little final thoughts before Super Bowl Sunday. Cole, how we feeling?
Hey, I'm feeling great. Looking forward to a big weekend. Shout out to our boy Colin Coward, kind of setting the tone with some Instagram, social media posts last night for the
Yes.
upcoming weekend, kind of with the waste management kicking off, and then Super Bowl as well. So, anyway, seeing that really gave me a big energy boost heading into the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm fired up. It's a great weekend for sports. I mean, you got Waste Management going on, Super Bowl Sunday, great lineup of college basketball tomorrow. Not to mention the NBA is just hectic as hectic as all get out. But no, it's gonna be a good weekend for sports. But also, I want to shout out. We created the Instagram account. Want to just give out a shout out to everyone sharing and following, and hopefully you share with your friends and keep this thing rolling.
That's right.
But yeah, I feel like first things first, we really got to jump into this NBA trade deadline news. I mean, I had text from Cody Talbot and I believe yourself around 12:30
Yeah.
last night. KD went to the Suns. Um, was not expecting that. I mean, I was expecting maybe a move or maybe him requesting something, but to the Suns, did not expect that. So, just what are your initial thoughts there, and how that's going to turn out?
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to turn out okay. I think they have so much talent. Um, it would almost have to. I don't know for sure about a title. I really like to see them play. Also, his health is a major concern. With consistent knee injuries, that'll be a main concern regarding KD. But I honestly think the Suns healthy were competitive already. So just adding this, not losing a whole lot for now is good as well for them. Um, couldn't believe the 4 first-round picks
Yeah,
that were given up, but I guess they're all in, and they felt great about it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done that. So it's a it's a really interesting move. Kind of, I think all the reports, all the insiders, and even some of our sources that we go to for stuff like that. I think everyone
yeah,
was that it was going to be after the season, they were going to move him somewhere and they were going to keep him through the season. But he must have just really wanted out, interested to see how that unfolds. Which, to his credit, I mean, I would too. They weren't gonna win a title with that roster without Kyrie. But anyway, so yeah, I'm really interested to see them play, him get back healthy here second half of the season, and see what they put together.
yeah. No, it'll be interesting, especially now that he's moved out west. I mean, that playoff picture is going to be insane. Something I like is the Suns. They've made a deep run in the playoffs, so they're not too familiar with the moment. And then I think like the biggest thing there would be, um, Chris Paul's probably going to be itching at that first ring of his. So that'll be exciting to see play out. Obviously, if you're picking up Kevin Durant, it's not going to hurt your roster whatsoever. With Booker, his scoring ability, and Chris Paul, and just all the shooters and weapons that they have, if they're healthy going in the playoffs, definitely going to be a scary team. But
Yeah, and
um,
he's also done it. Obviously different players around, but a similar situation. When he was there with the Warriors, they had those caliber of players. Um, where they did have multiple superstars, and obviously it worked. Getting the rings they did there. So anyway, I think he has the experience. Leadership on his end is lacking, in my opinion. So I'm interested to see who steps up there. Obviously, Booker and Aiton are young. Chris Paul, he could be. I think that would be one thing. That will be interesting to watch and see who does step up into the leader role of that crew. So
yeah, no, for sure, I agree. Um, but yeah, all in all, Suns got KD, and that's definitely just not going to hurt you when it comes to to the playoffs. And then the other big one was Russell Westbrook is leaving LA, and LA acquired Malik Beasley and D'Angelo Russell were the big ones. I think they got another player, but those were the two key pieces. So, oh, it was Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
That was the third
Yeah.
piece.
Sure.
So that's crazy. And then they also traded Pat Beverly off and got Mo Bamba today.
Yeah.
So, they acquired four players. How do you see that panning out? I mean, I don't know. The Lakers, it's just kind of been, I feel like just a lot of drama, kind of a hot mess this
Yeah.
year. There's been clips of Anthony Davis, watching the big screen while LeBron scored. So people are questioning whether he wants in and stuff. So
Yeah.
what do you see the Lakers looking like the rest of the year? Do you think this is going to help them down the road, or are
Yeah.
they going to kind of stay in the same boat?
Well, my initial thought was, you touched on it, but Anthony Davis. I mean, he's going to be, for them to win a title. It's
Hmm.
going to take him contributing, big numbers, going against the West, that they're, the players in the West that they're going to have to. So for them to go in and win a series in, Denver or Phoenix, or even Golden State, it's going to take more than just LeBron and some role players around him. It's going to take that second guy. So that, these next few weeks coming up, it's going to, on his health and his attitude, that's going to be the deciding factor, in my opinion. I 100% think they got better.
Yeah.
Westbrook, I've actually grown on Westbrook a lot. He frustrated me a ton when he was in Oklahoma City. But I respect him. But I do think that, he has to be somewhere where he's the guy, for him to be most successful. So I think getting rid of him alone helps the Lakers roster. And then obviously they picked up some great, role players and players that can contribute. So good move for them. Just don't know. I mean, even, I don't know. The West is just, it's loaded up. So
Yeah. No, it's loaded up, and like you said, I mean, AD is the key there. I mean, if he
yeah,
can stay healthy, I mean, the Lakers, I think their goal is obviously just one at a time, but
yeah,
working towards 500, getting a little bit above 500, just getting in a good mix, and then
yeah,
making a run from there. Um, and then just in other news, I kind of just want to hit on big blockbuster trades that happen. We've touched on Kyrie and what we thought was going to happen. Kind of made our, what we thought the Mavericks were going to be. He played without Luka last night in his first game and played extremely well, and they beat the Clippers. So I don't know. I think if him and Luka mesh together really well, I don't know. The Mavs could be a lot of fun to watch. I mean, when Kyrie's playing in the flow of the game and he's feeling it, and Luka's playing in the flow of the game and feeling it, I mean, those are two players, that
yeah,
I'd say are one of the, some of the most fun to watch in the league. So that's going
yeah,
to be a very exciting team to watch.
yeah. Especially passing wise. I mean, those are two of the top. I mean, two of the top passers in the league for sure. And the way they see the floor and the plays they can make, are second to none. So
Yeah. But yeah, just kind of wanted to go through a little NBA. Is there anything else we need to touch in regards to that?
I don't think so. I guess the next topic would just be jumping over to the waste management.
Oh yeah,
I know.
it's that time of year.
Yeah, I was able to see some footage of a lot of celebrities down there last night. Coward was sharing some stuff with us, and so that
Mhm.
was pretty cool to see. Aldine and A Rod, and a lot of guys hanging out. So pretty cool. And
I was actually just listening to the announcers, and they were talking about enjoying a cold beer and enjoying Jason Aldean last night. So
yeah,
I always love hearing that.
yeah. I heard Cole Swindell made a quick appearance as well. So anyway, pretty cool to see all those guys down there. But yeah, anyway, as far as play goes, I mean, I got it pulled up here. It's gonna be tight. We got a
Hmm.
good. The leaderboard's shaping up pretty nice. So we'll see how it plays out. What are your projections for Sunday?
My projections, I think it's going to be a big name. I think it's going to be a big name. But just the way Xander Schauffele played today, and the way we know he can play. I mean, he's just when he's zoned in, he's one of the best players in the world. I mean, he's
Yeah,
truly incredible. We saw Rory kind of struggle today a little bit. Spieth dropped back to even today. But just with the way today went, I like Schauffele, and then I also like Max Homa. He's just playing really good golf right now. I think through 9, he was 2 under last I checked. Um, but final prediction before today, I was going to go with Max Homa, so I'm just going to stick with that. It's hard not to take Schauffele after the way he played today, but
Yeah.
um, like I said, Max Homa, he's one of my favorite golfers, and he's just playing the best golf he's played in his career. So I'm
Yeah.
going to roll with him, and I know he likes the excitement. So
Yeah. I like that. I think that you're right on the money there. I mean, Shoffley would be, after seeing today the way he played, it's hard not to pick him. So I mean that would, if I pick in one, putting money on one to win, I'm going Shoffley all the way.
yeah, can't go wrong. I
And
mean, 15 of 18 greens in regulation today, so 15
yeah,
chances at birdie.
yeah,
That's absurd.
yeah. I actually didn't see. I was looking for the leaderboard here. Did you see what Spieth finished? I know he was 1 under at one point.
He finished even par.
Even, yeah. I
Yeah,
don't know.
he just. I feel like every time I watch Spieth, he scrambles so much, always hitting it in the sand, always hitting it in the
Yeah,
trees, scrambling around, and then just
recovers.
up and over for par. So it's crazy. But no, this is the time of
Actually, got
year
a.
where Waste Management comes alive. You're seeing the sun out there in Arizona, and then you're just ready to knock the rust off those clubs.
That's
And
right.
I think I got a little tee time lined up this Saturday with some boys, so
Great.
we'll get the club swinging.
Yeah. Looks like we got an Edmond, a local boy. Taylor Moore is 4 under through 10, so he's just one off the lead with 8 to go. So that'll be
Let's go.
interesting to watch as well.
Also breaking news. I mean, we can go ahead and give the shout out, but Mary Jekyll just gave the Instagram a follow,
All right,
so we might
that's
bring her
respect.
on for conspiracy talk and more.
Uh, that sounds great.
Um, but yeah, I think it's gonna be an exciting weekend of golf. But um, I don't know if we talked about it, but do we want to do any picks for college basketball? I didn't know if you
Yeah,
had
we might as
anything
well
in
go
mind.
and yeah, might as well go ahead and throw them out there.
So new segment on the show is the rest of the college basketball season, just every Saturday lineup. Cole and I are going to pick 3 spreads that we like, whether it's an underdog or the favorite, and we're just going to kind of keep track of those and might do a little punishment, after March Madness. Who knows? I'm sure we'll definitely up the stakes when the bracket rolls out. But um, let's see here. Um, so I can just go ahead and go through my picks.
Yeah,
The lines aren't out, but I don't care what the spread is. I'm just taking whatever comes out because I like these picks so much. They're just that good. We got Tennessee and Missouri. Missouri going into Tennessee. Tennessee's kind of had a couple of games here recently where, I don't know if we know what they are. A lot of low scoring games, weird games. And then they just lost, I believe, last night. So I'm taking Missouri to cover. They won against South Carolina, a little bounce back game. I think they're going to come in ready to go and play well on the road there. The other game that I loved was KU at Oklahoma. Just looking at the matchup predictor right now, it's 60-40 KU, so I think the spread's going to be tight. Like I said, they haven't came out with it yet. KU will be favored, so I'm going to take the points, whatever they have against OU. I just could see KU going in there and, smashing them. And then last pick that I love is Auburn versus Alabama. It's in Auburn. Bama will be favorited, but I like Auburn keeping that one close as well. So 2 underdogs and a favorite for you there.
I like it. That's very good. My first one that I'm going with, actually, it's a Yukon Creighton. But
Tough pick.
yeah, I mean that's going to be a huge matchup there. 1 o'clock, get going there. But I think that I'm taking money line on Creighton on that game. They
Okay.
got a lot at stake. Trying to solidify themselves, climb up at a higher seed. They're in the 4-5 range right now as far as seeding goes. So that could be a huge win for them and at home. So I'm taking Creighton. The next one, let me go back here to the game time. So Baylor is at TCU, which is a big matchup as well, right there. 14 versus 17. I as well am taking TCU money line on this. I'm assuming since it's closely, like I said, the spread isn't out yet, but I'm assuming TCU will be favored just for being at home.
Yeah,
But
that'll be a close one.
yeah, it'll be within a few points. But anyway, I'm going to go TCU money line.
Okay.
Then following it up, I think I'm going to go back to or over to the Big Ten. And anyway, I'm going with Indiana over Michigan. They're going to Michigan, which Michigan is trying to make a push right now to get into the tournament. But we watched that Indiana Purdue game, and they're kind of electric.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
I'm going Indiana money line there as well. So those are my three for the week.
All right, I like those picks, and what we'll start doing is having those picks going into the weekend, and then we'll recap those and keep our records on our the beginning of next week for those episodes. But anyway, I think we were going to touch on Super Bowl, but honestly, we discussed it a lot in that interview. So yeah, I feel like everyone can give the interview a listen, and we talk a lot of Super Bowl. So with that being said, we'll move into that interview with our friend Chandler Haley. But before we do that, I believe Cole's got a sponsor for us.
Yes, and we just want to take the time to say thank you to Althea's Vault and Bakery, and they just wanted to reach out and do a little advertisement. They're known for having the best cookies around. They do it all, lunch specials, fresh baked goods right there in Washington. So if you guys are ever down in Southern Oklahoma, whether it's working, traveling, whatever, you need some fresh baked goods, go ahead and stop by Althea's. We'll actually link their website and put an address as well for their advertisement on this episode. So that's all.
Yep. Appreciate that. And before we officially dive into the interview, just want to also point out that we will have some exciting stuff coming up in the next week. We'll have some live reactions and footage from the Double Deuce in Oklahoma City during the Super Bowl. And then I believe Cole and I are attending Oklahoma State in Kansas next Tuesday, and we might have some interviews and more. So yeah, just stay tuned on that. But with that being said, Cole, is there anything else you want to touch on?
No, that's all. Stay tuned for our first guest.
All right, well, let's just go ahead and dive on into our interview with Chandler Haley.
All right, everybody. We just want to say welcome to this week's episode. We got a lot to cover. We also got an exciting guest here with us. So we're going to go ahead and dive into that real quick, but just wanted to give him a proper introduction. His name's Chandler Haley. He's a legend in the Oklahoma high school sports world. He's a jack of all trades. We're going to talk some Super Bowl, some sports, maybe some music if we have time, but he knows it all. So Chandler, welcome, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be the first official guest on the podcast. So
that's right.
Let's get it rolling.
Yeah, it's good to have you. And I'm just going to go ahead and start with your background there. I see you're hanging Mixon, Herbert, and Mayfield. If you want to go ahead and explain, why you maybe decided to hang those jerseys, or if they always just sit there.
I mean, yeah, they stay there year round. No, Mixon. That was actually my first NFL jersey I ever got. He's going to beat the case, by the way.
Good.
Herbert, probably it's my boy. He's a goat in my eyes. I'm sorry, Jordan, but he's good. He's good. And then we got my boy Baker there in the middle, OU legend, Oklahoma legend. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, let's go ahead and dive on in. I'll just ignore the fact that Mixon's, been in trouble on a couple occasions, but we'll just.
Dude, we've got a Super Bowl Sunday at church coming up. I asked Holly, I was like, "Hey, do you think it'd be weird if I wore my Mixon jersey to church?" So, yeah, that's probably not. Probably won't be wearing that one in public much more, but still my boy.
Yeah, no. Well, we can dive into some more NFL after, but I feel like we just got to go ahead and talk about the Super Bowl. We haven't talked about it too much. So what do you think? Eagles versus Chiefs. What's your prediction? I know we've kind of discussed a little bit, but yeah, what are you thinking on the outcome there?
Yeah, man. I think I'm kind of with Cole. We kind of talked about this last weekend, but I just do not see anybody stopping Mahomes when it matters.
We'll
As a
go.
Chargers,
We'll clip that.
yeah, clip that. As a Chargers fan, that's tough to say. But you got to give credit where credit's due. I think Mahomes, and even without Tyreek, I mean, their offense is still. Anytime you have a quarterback like that, I mean, you're not counting them out just because they lost Tyreek, and they've made that point all year long. Man, I'm going to take the Chiefs. Do you want a score? I'll give you a score if you're wanting to.
Yeah, let's.
So
we'll all score it.
So I'm going to say, give me. I think it's going to be a close game. I actually think the Eagles are going to jump out to like a 10-3 lead, like 10-3 at halftime, maybe a little low scoring at first, and then I think it gets going in the second half. And I'm going to take the Chiefs 28-24.
I like that.
That's kind of right where that's kind of right where I was. I was gonna go Chiefs 27-24. Maybe a last minute drive, or maybe a last minute drive stop by the Eagles, or by the Chiefs stopping the Eagles. So I like 27-24.
What, Chandler, in your opinion, what would it take for the Eagles to do it? I mean, obviously, you mentioned not being able to stop Mahomes, but is there a scenario that you can see them, even if Mahomes plays Mahomes, puts up Mahomes numbers, is there a way you can, a scenario that you could see them pulling it out?
I mean, I don't know. I definitely think that, obviously turnovers are a huge point of every game, every sport, really. I think the Chiefs are going to win the turnover battle. But if they were to turn the ball over a lot, I could see that. I could see the Eagles, because their defense is good. I mean, you got to give the Eagles credit. Their defense, they've been riding them all year long. Hurts has been phenomenal for sure, but their defense, man, has been, especially here in the playoffs, it's been awesome.
It says a lot too. You riding with the Chiefs, being a Chargers fan, and two, with another OU boy at quarterback.
I just they have Lane Johnson too. Yeah, plays on the line. I mean, I think, I don't know. I mean, I think if the Chiefs turn the ball over a lot, then I think that might be the only. And I say a lot. I say 3 turnovers. I think that's enough the Eagles can slide in, but I just don't see Mahomes doing that, especially on that stage. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's definitely been weird, like hearing these playoffs. Hurts, I could see where they could be a force, if he was 100% healthy, being able to run around and scramble. But I don't know. I think he's averaging about 2.6 yards a carry in the playoffs right now, and I just don't know if that's going to get it done, not having his scrambling ability this go around if the Chiefs get a pass rush going.
I will say this. I don't want to hedge my bet or anything, taking the Chiefs, but I will say this, thinking back on the Eagles and 49ers game, the Eagles defense, dude, and I understand that Brock Purdy went out, but the Eagles defense looked absolutely ridiculous at times. I think, we know Mahomes he's not going to turn the ball over, but, crazy things happen in the Super Bowl. But no, I think the Eagles, I think their run kind of comes to an end right here. And, it's been a great run for them, but I don't see them beating the Chiefs. Unless
old Limpy comes out.
Yeah, if old Limpy comes out, dude. Yeah. So, Limpy. Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Let's stop that.
Chandler, do you still have a relative part of the Chiefs organization, or is he somewhere else now?
No, so that's Holly's relative.
So
yeah, he's actually, he's the long snapper for the Chiefs. So she's a big Chiefs fan, and he's kind of like a hometown hero around here. So but man.
Yeah, well, I like those picks there for sure. And last note, I've said it too. Andy Reid revenge game is huge. And my thing is Pat in the first Super Bowl wasn't outstanding. I feel like this is his opportunity just to come out there, my language, big dick swinging, and just slinging the rock all over the field.
For sure. I'll say this: Mahomes has the opportunity to, especially with Brady retiring. And we're not taking anything away from Brady's career. Mahomes, and this pains me to say this, Mahomes has a chance to absolutely run the table as far as like taking on the next GOAT status or whatever. And he could do that. I think he realizes that he could do that with a win here this weekend. So yeah, I will agree with the big dick swinging.
And I like this because I think we can transition because Mahomes definitely has that opportunity. And I talked about how Tom Brady always had Manning that he had to go against. Outside of Peyton, I mean, I don't know, was there any other dominant quarterbacks in that conference during that time? I would say right now, Pat, I think his problem is there's just so many dominant quarterbacks in the AFC that are up and coming, like Herbert, Josh Allen. I don't know anymore. I don't know if he can win the big one, but you got Burrow. I mean, you just got a lot of studs over there.
Yeah, man, I
think that's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I think I don't know. It sucks. It sucks being a Chargers fan because when you don't have, I'm not gonna say elite talent around Herbert like Mahomes does, but I'm like, I don't know. It's just I feel like as a Chargers fan, you're kind of in that like middle of the road in the AFC, and it's only going to get tougher. So yeah, it's the AFC. I think is definitely loaded. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting too to see where Lamar Jackson goes.
Oh, for sure.
Him leaving, I mean, that would help a little bit. But yeah, you've got four quarterbacks that you could argue are 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the NFL that are all in the AFC.
It's same, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I was gonna say too, it's because I'm like it's very fortunate being a Chiefs fan. I know like everyone thinks we're annoying as hell now, but I mean it's
paid your dues though.
Yeah, we paid the dues. Yeah. And another thing, like the Patriots, when Brady was winning and winning and winning, the media was always looking for the next guy. And I felt like it just gave like Brady that chip and the Patriots that chip. And now I just feel like the Chiefs come out and have the chip, probably going to have it every year because the media is always looking for the next, the next face of the league. So it's a good feeling.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we wanted to get your opinion on another hot topic, Chandler. Obviously last night, LeBron against the Thunder, breaking the all-time NBA scoring record. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that. Also, we're going to ask you to do a top 5 list and just see if, breaking the record, where LeBron stands in your opinion. So just go ahead and break down your thoughts there.
Yeah. Like, are you saying top 5 overall, like players of all time?
Yeah, but before you do that,
break down LeBron.
But yeah, just give us your thoughts on last night itself. Maybe even the video they pulled out in the middle of the game and everything like that as well. So
yeah, it was. So originally I wanted to watch it as a Thunder fan, and then you start thinking about, well, this is history. Like regardless if you like LeBron or not, it's history. So yeah, I just watching it. The first couple quarters were the most excruciating quarters of basketball I think I'd ever watched, because anytime LeBron touched the ball, you knew 1, it was going up, or 2, he was putting his head down and he was going to go get fouled and the refs were going to let him get it from the free throw line, which was ridiculous. Which I will shout out to my boy, Jalen Williams, took a charge on him. That was freaking awesome to see. But no, I thought, for what it was worth, I thought it was pretty cool. Just when you sit back and think of the magnitude of what he's accomplished, and the amount of games he's accomplished it, it is special whether you like him or not. I mean, you can't take that away from him.
Yeah.
I thought I know that the announcers before had kind of mentioned that they were going to stop the game, like when it happened, what they were going to do, or it was just going to kind of be, I don't know if they planned on stopping it or what, spur of the moment kind of deal, but the Thunder were, rallying right there on a good little run. So I think that was kind of cool to see them come out, and what they finished like 12-0, went on like a 12-0 run to close it out or something. I don't know. I think it was cool. I'll say that. I'm not a big LeBron fan. I thought his speech was stupid. You give a man a mic, dude, dropping the F-bomb like that, like, come on, bro. I mean, that's a little for someone that wants to be super sophisticated and all this stuff. And
but
yeah,
I agree. I mean, I thought it was fine, but yeah, that's a good point. Like you said, he does act, that everything has to be, politically correct. And
Yeah,
he kind of sets himself up for those things to be criticized for when he does, if he didn't care, and he was, didn't always make a comment on every,
on
current
everything,
event.
literally everything.
And then it wouldn't matter if he did that because he would be just another guy, but he kind of, it's like he almost has a different standard when he does make comments. So I didn't care for that either. But like you said, I fully agree. The moment itself is really cool. The fact that he was able to play that many games, be healthy, listen to sports radio this morning and everything. Just, I didn't really realize because I was pretty young myself, but, cameras were on him. Schools were after him pretty much nonstop from the time he was, 13, 14 years old. And then, he was playing on national television, from 15, 16 years old on and up from there. It's been every single day in the spotlight. And so for him to never be, arrested, anything like that, major scandals that you see a lot of superstars, athletes and, movie stars and everything else, especially when they start young, that's impressive to me too. So anyway, you gotta.
I mean, the guy he's been in the spotlight, like you said, since he was 13 or 14, and all eyes are on you, and you have to give LeBron credit for this. He's never involved with the law or allegations or anything, like none of that's coming up against him. So I'll give him credit for that. I just think that, you have that platform, such a wide platform. I just think he opens his mouth on things that, like, shut up and dribble, bro. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. He's all right.
No, I get it. I mean, he likes to just open his mouth before he even knows what he's talking about. And it just drives me insane. And he comments on literally everything. But do you think like the career points does anything for his legacy? Everyone's going to have the GOAT talk. Do you think that puts him in the GOAT talk at all?
I mean, yeah, it does. I mean, he was in the GOAT talk already, and then this, it doesn't. I mean, is he my GOAT? No, he's not. My GOAT wins that game last night. My GOAT doesn't let the Oklahoma City Thunder win that game, and Michael Jordan is who
Yeah,
I agree.
That was kind of, the moment's cool. And I think for the Lakers, it was probably easy to get lost in that moment. I even think that their coach said that, they were just so focused. They kind of forgot that they're, like, actually playing a game, which I get. I mean, that was part of last night. But the kind of competitor Michael Jordan is, he's going to get the points and never not think about winning that game. He's going to close that game out. Which, it's a regular season game, whatever.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, you look at where they're at. I mean, yes, it's a regular season game, but
they're right there neck and neck. Yeah.
I mean, well, at every single game for the Lakers it's almost a must win. They need to win every single game from here on out.
Yeah, absolutely.
To avoid the play-in, and move on up in the West. So anyway,
you're exactly
that's
right.
A great point. No way. There's a few guys, some other players that there's no way they're losing that game.
Right.
No, yeah, I agree. No, I was actually I went down the most insane rabbit hole this morning, just looking at LeBron's stats, looking at, like, the teams he played for, things like that. And because in my head I was like, all right, how can I argue that this guy's the GOAT? And then I looked at MJ from 85 to 98, and it just didn't even compare. I mean, in 13 seasons, he had 6 championships, 10 scoring titles, and just absolutely dominated the league and never lost. Always, like I said, he was just a competitor, and nothing else really mattered besides winning. So
for sure. Yeah. To answer your top 5.
Yeah.
Cole,
let's hear it.
It's probably pretty, I don't know. I would say obviously Michael Jordan 1. 2, I would say LeBron, just out of what he's done personally.
I was hoping you were going to say something different because I was ready to roll.
No, that's 1 and 2. That's A and B. I mean, those are I think that's your biggest argument every single time someone has this argument. I would say LeBron second, Kareem third, Kobe fourth, and probably fifth. Man, I would have like a 5A and a 5B. I would say 5A would be Wilt, and then this probably gets a lot of flack here, but I'm gonna say Larry Bird, 5B.
Oh yeah.
And not necessarily from like a I don't know. He's just I'm too big of a fan to leave him out of my top 5. So that's more of like a respect thing for me. So
Yeah.
There's always those guys.
Got to give it to the white boy. I got to throw a white boy in there, the top 5. So
there's always those guys that you can squeeze in. There's like always Magic. In my opinion, you can.
Sure.
I don't know. I think like around 5 is always Shaq personally.
Right.
Yeah, I mean Shaq's right there knocking out the door.
And
did you see the conversation last night between
him and Charles?
Kareem? No, between him and Kareem.
Oh no,
man, it was awesome.
Salam alaikum.
Yeah. Dropping, dude. It was actually pretty cool. Shaq, just kind of said, because I guess Kareem ignored Shaq or whatever throughout his career, or whatever. And Shaq basically just said, you ignoring me or whatever. I just wanted to impress you. Like that was my main goal, was just impress you. And I thought that was pretty cool. The mutual respect they had for each other was pretty cool. So
yeah,
I didn't mean to cut you off there, J9.
Oh no, you're good. And then my hot take was going to be, and I think we've discussed this in past too, who can hover around there is Steph Curry.
He's there. I mean you can't say he's not. You know what I mean?
People don't think about him, but it's just like, look at what he's done. Like the entire game's changed, and I mean, he's out there winning rings with a team that, that he's stuck with, and he's stuck with the same guys. I just think that goes a long way.
Well, and he's a guy too. When we were 8, 9, 10 years old growing up, it was always, if you're in the gym and you're shooting trick shots or fadeaways or whatever, everybody would always say Kobe, you're throwing piece of trash in the trash can, it was always Kobe. But now those younger kids, it's always Steph. They're impersonating Steph, and he's a guy that has changed the game on that level that guys like MJ, Kobe, LeBron have. He is one that's up there for what he's done. So yeah, that's Curry, that's a great point. I think something that sticks out with Curry for me is kind of like you said, Jordan, what he's done with the team. Obviously, the years he had KD and Clay, whatever.
True.
That's more on KD than it is Steph, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna fault Curry for that. What impresses me about Curry is look at his build. Look at his body. He's not a big banger. He's not a freak of nature athlete. You know what I mean? So that, just looking at him, that's what impresses me so much. And you think of basketball in the purest form, it's hard not to think of Curry. So I agree with you completely on that. So
no, I mean, I'd have confidence I could maybe whoop his ass. So I mean, that's
100%. In a bar fight, that might be the first. In a bar fight, out of those top 5 players I just listed, that's the person I'm going for. Curry for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. He kind of, we said how LeBron, had the spotlight on him pretty much every day from, young age, but Steph kind of did it the opposite. Even in the league, when he had the ankle injury early, people weren't even sure if he was going to be able to pan out and play much longer. Obviously going to school at Davidson, he did have some moments there where he was big, but he's kind of been an underdog, and he's turned into obviously one of the greatest, definitely the greatest shooter, and one of the greatest players ever. So
for sure.
I like it. Cole, you want to do we need to dive into maybe some Oklahoma basketball and stuff that's been stirring up, and it's actually kind of started making national news, I feel like.
Because when we were going over notes, I was going to say some local news, but I think around now it's already national news now. But Chandler, just wanted to kind of get your take and your thoughts on the Weatherford, Oklahoma versus Anadarko, Oklahoma high school boys basketball game last night. Top 10 matchup in 4A. Is that okay? And anyway, both pretty solid high school teams. A lot of history there. The coaches, the Anadarko coach, especially around Oklahoma, is considered to be. He's already in the Hall of Fame, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame, and I believe he's fourth or fifth in all-time wins. I think he
Okay.
has 700 something.
Yeah. So obviously a respectable coach in the Oklahoma sports world. And anyway, very controversial game last night. The shot clock itself, having a shot clock in high school sports has been a topic for a few years now, probably more than that, but it's really gotten hot here the last couple of years. And then this has sparked that conversation even more. So just wanted to get your take on the game itself, and then, that shot clock topic as well there. So.
And before you start sharing, just some background for anyone who doesn't know about it. The final score of the game was 4-2. And I believe it was, I can't pronounce, I'm not a Oklahoma statesman. So, but the underdog, Anadarko, is that right?
Yeah, that's it.
They held the ball like the entire game. So
yeah. So the initial game, I'm on Twitter last night, just scrolling, and I see Weatherford's basketball, like their Twitter profile page, whatever, tweeted out a graphic with like a final with some like smart ass statement saying how barn burner or something. I can't remember what the statement was, but I see the graphic and it says 4-2 on it. And I'm like, okay, that's weird, because first of all, if you know anything about Anadarko, boys and girls, they are like straight up barn burners. They score, they run and gun. Like it was super not like that, like Anadarko for that to happen. So my initial reaction, I'm like, okay, no way, like this is a joke, it's a typo on Squirtle, whatever. But yeah, so the initial game, from my understanding, I've watched the film a couple times. It doesn't take long to watch, to be honest with you. You can literally click. Yeah, you can click it by like 30 seconds and it's still on one side of the court. I think at the end of the first quarter, it was 0-0. I actually have a buddy, a coaching friend that is friends with the Anadarko, a couple of coaches on staff there. They said that it was never their intention to stall like this. But they said from the tip, Anadarko has the ball and Weatherford is in a 1-3-1, and they're just sitting back in like a soft zone. And I think it was at that time, Darko's point guard turned around, looked at the bench, like what to run. And the Darko coaches kind of converse amongst each other and decide if they're just going to sit back, let them sit back. Like, we'll do this, that's fine, whatever. Just, yeah. So basically saying, come out and guard us. Like, let's go, get out of the zone, come out and guard us. Which Weatherford kind of threw in some soft man as time went on. But just to see the reactions of everybody on Twitter, one, grilling Coach Shumpert. He's, like you said, Cole, he's very well thought of in the Oklahoma coaching world. But just to see people grilling him and all the Weatherford people and people that want the shot clock, whatever, just to grill them for that. It just irked me, because I want to be like, okay, get out of the zone, go guard somebody, trap somebody, foul somebody. Like, let's do something. Like, personally, if I'm coaching, you're not going to stall on me. Like, you're just not going to do it. I will foul. I will call trap. I will do something to not let you stall on me. So I just think from that aspect, as far as like the game itself, I think it was a smart move by Shumpert. It probably gave themselves the best chance to win the game. I know Weatherford's a really good team. I think they're number
are they
2 or 3,
19-1,
something like that. Yeah. They're a really good team. Just beat Kingfisher at Kingfisher, broke a super long home winning streak for Kingfisher.
So they're hot.
Weatherford's a dang good team. Like, I think that Shumpert, like I said, I know for a fact it was not their game plan to stall. I think the opportunity just kind of presented itself and they just ran with it, as crazy as that may sound. But I'll say this, watching the film back, Anadarko has a chance to win it at the end. They take a 3 at the end and miss it. So yeah, as coaches, you put your kids in, and this, a lot of people aren't going to want to hear this, but as a coach, you put your kids in the best situation possible to win. And I feel like that's what he did. So Was it pretty to watch? No, but got to do what you got to do. So,
yeah. And that's what I like how you said that, because it's not like high school boys basketball, some fans might go for entertainment, but it's not an entertainment event. You're not there to watch those teams, just entertain you. It's who's going to win the basketball game at the end of the day.
For sure.
But yeah, I definitely agree on making them come out and guard you. I mean, I would not. If I was a player on the court, I don't think I could sit back and just watch.
Yeah,
that.
no.
I mean,
and I'll say this too. I think there's obviously there's the kind of stall ball where the point guard or whoever just holds the ball at half court and really just holds it, kind of looks around, and the crowd starts chanting boring, whatever. There's that kind of stall ball. But watching this, I mean, there's passing, there's cutting. I mean, I think Anadarko turned the ball over 4 times just doing that. So, I mean, right there's 4 possessions right then and there to go score. But yeah, it's not like they were just holding the ball. I mean, they're passing, they're cutting, they're running their like late game offense. So yeah, it wasn't that kind of stall. So
do you know, did Weatherford have any like negative lash outs or anything on the other coach or anything?
You mean like
any fans or
coach to coach
coaching?
stuff?
Yeah, anything like that. Because if I was a coach on the other side, you can't have an argument, because if you wanted to win the game, you'd go force a turnover and get it in a situation where they're not going to stall anymore.
For sure. Yeah. I don't think there was any negative connotation between the 2 coaches. There may have been. I wish I was on the inside so I could know what was said, like in the when you're shaking hands or whatever. But I know that fans, like Weatherford fans, they're pissed about it. There's people on Twitter that are like, my son had college scouts there to watch him, and they didn't want to see a 4-2 basketball game or whatever. And
yeah,
if I'm coaching college, I would have and I'm scouting, I would have loved to have been at that game, because one, if I'm recruiting a kid, there's a very good chance this is the first situation that he's like this that he's been in. So I get to see how he responds, what he does after the game. I get to learn so much about the kid. So if I'm a college coach, I think that's kind of cool seeing that side of it. But no, yeah, there was definitely some negative energy towards Anadarko for doing that.
Yeah, and well, so now that I'm thinking, I'm actually here in Weatherford right now. So tomorrow I might have to go around, hit up some local spots, and see what all the buzz is about.
You might have to. What's that pancake place there in is it Jerry's?
Jerry's.
Yeah.
You might have to hit up Jerry's and see what the
local, have a cup of coffee.
Yeah, local pancake shop's talking about.
That's awesome. No, and just to go a little further, so let's just say hypothetically you're on the OSSA board, or however this vote would go down if they wanted to implement the shot clock. If you have a vote, what would your vote be? Yes or no for a 35-second shot clock, and why? Chandler.
Yeah, to be honest with you, my vote would be no on adding a shot clock. They voted on it this past year, and it got voted no. I think there's more people that are voicing their opinion that are pro shot clock than I think the ones that don't want the shot clock aren't really voicing their opinion much, or at least coaches. My reason behind voting no on it would be, I think that there's a lot of games that can be closed out in the fourth quarter by not stalling, but like running 4 corners or zero, whatever you want to call it. I think that, I know when I was in high school, I played for a guy. We won a ton of games by just being tougher, being mentally tougher, taking care of the ball, being more disciplined. So I think adding a shot clock like that, I think you're taking away that aspect of the game. And I had a conversation earlier with a guy. He said that adding a shot clock would mean that the best team is going to win the game every single time. And my response to that is the best team isn't supposed to win the game every single time. I think that's where the beauty of coaching comes in, the beauty of having a strategy, like stalling. I think that's where that kind of comes in. So yeah, I think there's too many. Let's be real about this. Not everyone is stalling. Like, this happens once or twice where it makes, Twitter or the news like this a year. I mean, more times than not, you're playing straight up, me versus you. That's fine. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I just don't think it's broke right now. I know that's probably not a very popular take right now in Oklahoma, but yeah, I would not vote to add a shot clock. I think it's fine the way it is. And if you don't like somebody stalling, teach man defense, get up and guard, have a trap call. Let's change it up. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So.
I like it. Take. Yeah. I'm right there with you too. I mean, I would vote no. Similar reasons, but I mean, just to quickly summarize it, I mean, like you said, it's just because someone's holding the ball doesn't mean you have to let them hold the ball. You can easily go, you can go foul them and then, from there, get up and play deny on the next inbound pass,
For sure.
Or, whatever. So,
I mean, I'm going to add this. I would say, like, when you start thinking about sports, like loopholes that people try to find, or not loopholes, but like intentionally walking somebody in baseball. I mean, that's just as much bush league, if you're going to call it bush league. I mean, intentional walking. You could even say like hack a shack in basketball, like just sending somebody to like their worst shooter to the line over and over again and burning subs off the bench to go foul. I mean, yeah, there's stuff like that happens. So I just don't see stalling is not a big enough reason to add a shot clock. I mean, people will say it's the only reason to add a shot clock, but it doesn't happen enough for it to be a big deal. So
right.
And like you said, I mean, there would be more probably blowouts by the better team for sure if they did add one. Because in my high school days, I mean, my team wasn't the most dominant. We were in a pretty tough conference, so when we go and play, teams that we knew were a lot better than us, I mean, our goal was to get the most quality shots each possession. And if you're forcing bad shots, it just kind of puts you in a bad spot to win. And
hey, I'll say
we want our kids to look back and look at those games that they won, those big games that they won.
For sure. I'll say this: I've played in my high school career. I would be curious to go back and see how many games that we played where we scored more than 40 to 45 points. Like very and basic. I'm not saying like it was more defensive minded games, because they're lower scoring, but you just adding a shot clock, you start thinking about all the possessions you add to the game, and you're gonna have some ugly scores, you're gonna have some blowouts, and some people maybe that's what they want, whatever. But I just think there's beauty in and it's not fun to watch, but I think there's beauty in a 28 or 32-28 final, just a heavy hit and grudge match. In high school and in small school high school basketball, you can't. That, in my opinion.
No, I agree.
Quick update: some sports tonight. Just checking some scores. West Virginia's up 3 on Iowa State with 3 seconds to go. It looks like they're on the line, and then Oklahoma State's up 9 on Tech with 9 minutes to go. So, Sweet. And OU's down 4 to Baylor in the first half.
Shocker.
Keeping it close.
What's that? What's the Tennessee game look like?
Tennessee lost by 1.
Damn it.
Yeah.
That's kind of tough for Mizzou to go into their house on Saturday and win.
Yeah. They're gonna be wanting blood, Jordan.
Dang. I know it. I was hoping 2-0 this week would get us back in the top 25, but that's gonna be tough.
It looks like Tyrin Lawrence for Vanderbilt hit a 3 at the buzzer to win out of the corner.
Nice.
Vandy was on an 11-game losing streak.
So what do you guys think as far as Big 12? How many teams do you think get in? Who gets in? Who's out? I think we can all agree that OU is probably out at this point. But
yeah.
I think OSU gets in. I think they're probably like one of the last 4 in or something, maybe like an 11 seed playing like a play-in game or something. But
I think that's right. I think the only 2 teams that for sure won't get in, my opinion is Texas Tech and OU.
Yeah.
This would be a good win for West Virginia. I guess that just went final, so they won. So they could. I think OSU. I think you're right on the money there, unless they just burn some games here at the end. But as of today, I think they're in. So I think there's going to be 6 to 7.
It's
probably
stacked.
6 for sure. But Texas, KU, and K-State. I mean, those are three teams, in my opinion, that could make a run, make a deep run out of the
For
Big
sure.
12. So,
For sure. I agree.
what are your thoughts on OU, like the future there, the SEC transition, and specifically basketball first? Do you think that what's it going to take for them to be a competitive team again?
Yeah, I think
Moving to the SEC in the middle of the
moving
league.
to the SEC, I think with the way college sports are nowadays with the transfer portal, I think if you're OU, maybe you go get 2 or 3 solid guys out of the portal. Because at the end of the day, I mean, OU's not just an overwhelmingly exciting place to play basketball by any means. But I still think you land a couple good transfer portal guys. So keep Mosier. I think he's doing a great job. Keep him. Keep your freshmen. I really like the freshmen there, and then go get a few guys out of the portal. And I think you're just fine. I think that it's really easy to get lost in the heavy hitting of the Big 12, because it is. I mean, there's no room for error in your before conference play games, and then that margin of error just shrinks completely when you do get to conference. So I think it's easy to get lost in the strength of the Big 12, or how good they are. Each team is. But no, I think the transfer to the SEC it'll be okay for basketball.
For sure.
I think I don't see them going there and like taking it over or anything. No, they'll be a middle of the road team. They'll probably be, 6th or 7th in the SEC, and possibly have a chance to go to a tournament every other year or something like that. But
that's kind of how the SEC is, though. I mean, you kind of have like those teams that are usually pretty good at the top. You'll have Kentucky, Tennessee. Auburn's had a good team the last few years. And then, of course, Bama has been playing good. But I don't know. There's always just random teams. I mean, obviously, Mizzou this year, no one expected them to be anything. And they're kind of in that middle of the pack team who's got a shot at making the tournament. So I can see OU kind of falling in there for sure.
Yep.
Definitely a lot easier to have success, I think, than the Big 12 for basketball. Big 12 basketball, I feel like the atmosphere itself is just so much bigger.
Yeah, I agree. Completely. I'll say this for OU.
Football, we'll get into that, I'm sure, but that's a different story.
Different story for football. We can get into that, yeah, for sure. But I'll say this as far as OU basketball. I think it's really tough for OU to play at home and have such a sad environment there. Like, the support for OU basketball is not very good, as far as like attendance and getting crazy. So that sucks to finally have a home game, and that's what you go play in front of. And then in the back of your mind, if you're a coach or a player, you're like, well, crap, we have to go to KU on Wednesday night. We have to go to freaking Allen Fieldhouse Wednesday night, and then come home and play in a dead arena, and then turn around and go play at West Virginia, Iowa State, Texas, places that are just impossible to play in.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of factors that are not helping, or OU's not helping themselves in a lot of ways there.
And it's so interesting too. I mean, it's just never. I mean, obviously you had Blake Griffin come through, and they had some good teams those years, and then Buddy Hield, Trae Young followed up, Buddy, and there was nights that there would be good crowds and stuff like that, but outside of those big games with the National Player of the Year type players, there's just never been that atmosphere there for the basketball team. And it's just crazy to me knowing that the football team can play a pay-per-view game and they're selling it out, and it's going to be nuts until they 100%. Get up. Yeah, until they blow it open. But I don't know. We'll see how that transition goes.
It really I'll say this to kind of close on the whole basketball thing. I'll say this: it really shocked me whenever Ty Lazenby signed to OU. I really thought that he would be the one to kind of get that place going again, get it rocking again, and it just never happened. So I was really sad about that, but that's a story for another time. Yeah.
We'll dive more into that down the road, but let's close it off here. Just get your takes on same thing. Switch over to football. Just interested to hear what, a solid prediction for this year and the years to come for the football program at OU.
Yeah, I think this next year is going to be a pretty good year. Obviously, it's hard to actually. Let me rephrase this. It's going to be better than what were we 6-7, 6-7. I think we were 6-8. Something,
Yeah.
I don't even remember what we were. I lost it. Yeah, but I think it's going to be easy to. Not easy, but I definitely think it'll be better than that. You have one of the best recruiting classes that OU's in the history of the school has ever had. I think adding that, I don't know how much of an impact they make immediately, but I think they make a big enough impact to where, OU's kind of back at the 9-3 range. I haven't even really looked at their schedule in depth for this next year, but I do know that adding the UCF, Houston, BYU. I know they go to BYU on like a Friday night. I think that's kind of a trap game. But I think that their schedule should set up for potentially a 9-3 season, 10-2 season, maybe. And you go play a quality bowl game and keep growing. But I don't see them making the playoff or anything crazy like that. So
Yeah, and that's the thing about OU football. I don't know, you can always just get a lot more excited about that just because the fan base and everything is so huge. And when you think college football, maybe not this past year, but I mean the past decade before that for sure. But even when the college football playoff started, it was always, you had Bama around, Georgia around, Ohio State, and then Oklahoma was always that team getting in out of the Big 12. So I don't think you'll have too big of a problem transitioning. Now, we have talked a lot about, them transitioning to the SEC. Which any conference game, it's always going to be hard going on the road and winning. But just those SEC conference games, they're all trap games. I feel like when you're going on the road,
for sure, yeah, it'll be really interesting to see where how they split the SEC when you add OU and Texas. Obviously, you're going to keep OU and Texas together, I assume. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who lands on their schedule in those first couple of years, because I honestly think that could kind of set the tone for, like, if they don't have a bunch of, they're going to have hard teams on their schedule for sure. But if you don't have Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, like all on your schedule, and you're just getting maybe one of those and you happen to beat them, what that does for recruiting is insane moving forward. So I think the first few years in the SEC are like vital for OU moving forward, but it'll be interesting to see how they split it up and what they do with it. But I agree with you 100%. Every single game in the SEC is a trap. It's a dogfight.
Yeah. It is. The good thing though is, the money's there. They're OU's putting the money in. They have the facilities to keep the players that they need to be a top team. And then also, with the expansion of the playoff, moving forward, I think it's going to come a point where there's going to be a majority SEC teams in there. Sure. You're going to have to do that because they're, right now that they're they're the most dominant conference, in my opinion. So
absolutely. Anyway,
and then doesn't OU have Nebraska on their non-conference schedule is it this year or?
I can't remember if it is this year. I know Nebraska came here and then we went to Nebraska last year.
I thought they had one more. Could be wrong.
They might go to Nebraska again. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to look at their schedule. Like I said, I haven't even really looked at the schedule, but yeah, no, they don't play Nebraska. They go Arkansas State. Here, let me just give you a rundown real quick.
Okay, yeah.
I'll run these off. Arkansas State, that's a win. SMU, that's a win. At Tulsa, that's a murder scene. At Cincinnati, that's a trap game. Say what you want. That's a trap game. At Cincinnati, they win it. Okay, you're 4-0. Iowa State at home, that's a dub. 5-0. Cotton Bowl, that's a dub. 6-0. Let's see. UCF at home, that's a dub. At Kansas.
Hang on 1 second. When is the bye week? Is it before or after?
I think it's between. Give me a second. I think it's between OU Texas and UCF.
Okay.
So I don't know. From the 21st. Yeah, it is. It's on. So play Texas the 7th and then UCF the 21st. That's probably the 14th.
Okay.
So yeah, you're saying 7-0. Oklahoma's at Stillwater. That's a murder scene too. 8-0. West Virginia in Norman. Not losing. West Virginia beat us for the first time in school history last year. It's not happening in Norman. 9-0. In Provo on a Friday night, BYU 10-0. TCU and Norman. We're going 11-0 next year. Just reading the schedule. So make sure you clip that. And
that will be clipped.
And send it to me. So 11-0.
11-0.
11-0. OU's getting in. Yeah.
Murder scene in Stillwater. I like that
Murder
one.
scene in Stillwater. Slap that shit on the Daily Oklahoman headline on, let's see, that's November 4th. So November 5th's headline will be Murder Scene in Stillwater. The river runs red.
That's that one's going to be clipped for sure. I'm making sure we'll hang on to that.
All right, good.
Well, Chandler, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, boys.
That's about all the time we got. We appreciate it. We'll do it again soon, and we'll stay in touch. Best of luck on everything moving forward, and
definitely
just appreciate it.
Definitely a returning guest for sure.
Yeah,
especially when we get into that. Especially when we get into that college football next year. So.
Yeah, the mid college football season / mid NFL season. I'll be happy to be back. It's been a blast.
Heck yeah.
All right, thank you,
Chandler. Yep, take it easy.
See you, boys.